Welcome.
You want to do it? You want to do it? Do it.
Okay. Welcome back to I Lost My Faith and All I Got Was This podcast.
Hey.
I am George.
And my name's Micah. And we're your hosts today. I am an ex-evangelical, atheist, anti-theist, here to fuck shit up, motherfucker. Here to let you know, if you're in religion, get the fuck out. That's what I'm saying.
And I'm George again, therapist, ex-Mormon.
Yeah.
We're here. We're going to be processing faith, losing faith, what that means.
Diagnose Micah's mental illnesses.
Yeah. First and foremost. That's the ultimate goal of this podcast. What do we say? Isn't this all a hallucination from in your head?
Oh, yeah.
In the institution?
Oh,
I don't know if
is
I
that
should
what
be
this is?
saying that.
Oh, no. Well, that leads us to our disclaimer. This is not
therapy,
professional therapy,
right? That's
right?
not something I would say in my professional role as a therapist, and I am not operating in that role right
yes.
now.
Okay.
Yes, this is not therapy, and tonight we are going to be talking more directly about therapy, so absolutely this one is not intended to be therapy.
Right.
More explorative, hopefully educational, just... selfishly, I hope that I can learn a bit about my own approaches to therapy, your own from your perspectives of what therapy is, what it could be, what it should be.
Yeah.
And so I have a few, like we've already dipped into like values card sorts. We've talked about.
Yes, we did. Is that
inner
ACT?
child. Yes, good job.
Hey,
Do you know what it stands for?
Nope.
That's okay. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk a little bit more inner child work, and I'm also going to bring in a new thing called cognitive processing therapy.
Okay.
3 things that
CPT?
CPT.
Yeah.
That's different than CBT.
Right. CBT is cognitive behavioral therapy.
Correct.
Know that
And
one.
CPT is a subset or like another, because CBT is an evidence-based practice, which,
yes,
to make you real mad, has been banned by the federal government. We can't say
as of this administration?
Within
Okay.
the whole DEI thing, evidenced, we need to stop and listen to that.
Okay.
Evidence-based practice. Doing things based on evidence in order to get structured results has been banned by the current administration as woke.
Oh, wow.
Just listen to that.
No.
And they're telling on themselves with that. 100%.
What is this, through like the HHS or something?
Oh, I have a friend that's working with federal government, on federal government grants.
Yeah.
And all the DEI stuff is hitting them. And part of that is we can't say evidence-based practice anymore.
Really?
Yeah, it's banned language.
Oh, okay. Wow.
They're literally telling on themselves. They don't want to do what actually works. No, they want to control power.
Again. It's this. Okay.
Yeah.
Do we? We're getting into it. You're sucking me into it.
I know.
You're sucking me into it.
I knew you'd like that.
Oh yeah. So. No. It's what I just said. That they're trying to make that world that I grew up in everybody's world.
Yeah.
And everybody doesn't want that world.
No.
We don't want that world.
No.
We don't want it.
Anyway, so CBT is an evidence-based practice.
Yeah.
CPT, cognitive processing therapies, have a structured subset that's used often with PTSD.
Okay.
For veterans specifically, or especially maybe. And so these are 3 approaches. Again, I'm still kind of finding my feet with this work. Right?
Yeah,
my
you're working on seeing how it works with patients and everything.
And these are 3 things that I am utilizing and finding help for people outside of this kind of work, but especially. So that's kind of what we'll go through. I may run you through a little card sort, like a small version of one.
Perfect. I love it.
Just they can be pretty lengthy, so let's do a little dip. We'll maybe do a little more practical exploration of what inner child work would look like in a treatment session.
Yes.
And then we'll talk about cognitive process therapy and how it could be used to deconstruct the trauma from religion. Okay.
I love it.
So that's what we're doing.
Let's go.
Let's start first. Therapy. Thoughts. What do you think about therapy?
Well, I think that it can be really helpful, but I think I've had to a lot of people, and I started this way too, feel like it's like some magic way of unlocking your mind.
Yeah.
And I don't believe that anymore. I think that it's a good way to, what I've learned now by talking to you and understanding how, maybe a little more how professionals see it too, is you're helping the person understand themselves better, take a look at themselves from an objective point of view, because it's very hard. We have a fantastical view of ourselves, and it's very hard to look at ourselves rationally because we have our idea of ourselves. And then, people on the outside can be like, that's not exactly true. Maybe not in a bad way. Maybe we see ourselves in a bad way, and maybe there's some really good things that other people see from the outside that we can't see. So it helps us with our blind spots, right? It's kind of like having, to me, it's like having a good trainer or coach or someone who can help you, see your blind spots, and maybe a master who knows how the mind works. And can help you understand your mind better. So that's how I've been seeing it lately. Am I wrong about that? What do you think?
No,
or that's been my highest hope for therapy. I can't say that I've had that experience with therapists, because I've had therapists that I've been really disappointed in, where I'm like, okay, you're just listening to me talk. You're not helping me do anything. And I don't need to just talk about my problems to somebody. I need help with my problems. I don't understand why they're happening. I don't understand why my brain is doing what it's doing. And all you're doing is listening to me and being a listening ear. Like I can pay someone a lot less money to do that. Also, I have friends; they can listen to me,
right?
I'm sure there's some searching that needs to go on there, and you need to get some help from. Not everybody has a master's degree in therapy. What is your master's degree in? Can you
clinical mental health counseling?
Clinical mental health counseling.
And I am a licensed professional clinical counselor.
Yes, yes. So not everyone has those qualifications, but you can get qualified to be a therapist without it, right?
So you can. I don't know that you could say like you could get qualified as a therapist. Like, the field is a mess.
Yes.
It is. Like, it's there's different governing bodies, there's different education like standards throughout the country. Like, it's not uniform the way that the medical field is. Right? Which was something like when I was going for my degree, I wanted to prioritize, because I am very
You wanted to prioritize education.
Prioritize like scientific standardization.
Yes.
Because that's kind of my natural, like, as I've gone through my work and my education. So I ended up going and getting a master's in science at Johns Hopkins. Because I was like,
Johns Hopkins. I wanted to go. A famous place.
Well, It's
also been famous for.
I don't know if I should trash Johns Hopkins publicly.
Oh, okay.
Am I scared of Johns Hopkins? I think I am. But anyway,
it's a famous place, and it has been in political crosshairs before too.
Yes, there's a lot of colored history.
Yes.
So I went there because I wanted that standardization. While I was in my program, they lost their accreditation.
Oh, wow. They did.
A certain accreditation. So I was still able to get licensed, but I don't know this for sure, but I'm pretty sure I cannot work for the government because of the accreditation being lost.
Wow.
Because my program was somewhat like not run super well.
Oh, wow.
Right?
Okay.
It was housed in the School of Education. We were getting educated next to teachers. Like, obviously no bashing on teachers, but like that's not where we.
Yeah, that's not where you.
They just shoved us
real
somewhere.
World experience.
That's not. They just shoved us somewhere. I guess it makes sense because we were also like getting educated with school counselors. So I guess that's why.
Yeah.
But yeah, all that to say, like, there is like such disarray within the field that it allows for, again, like I don't have like a drastic opinion of like life coaches or anything like that. Like, if you're helping somebody, you're helping somebody. Like, I'm not a huge, like, I'm not like, oh, I hate life coaches because they're whatever frauds or whatever. Yeah. But I think the just like lack of ability of the mental health field to like come to consensus
Yeah.
and figure shit out, it does leave a lot of space for, poor training, poor
Yeah.
everything else, and
Yeah.
not like public clarity of what a like qualified clinician is.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So how do you see therapy then? Like, what do you see your job as?
Yeah, no. So, and I think, of course, too, it's very much dependent on like theory. And I think that is like, as like I said, I'm very naturally drawn or based in a very like scientific, structured approach. But as I've gone through, I've also opened up to, they call it like the science of therapy and the art of therapy, right?
Okay,
like,
right,
You
sure.
can get a master of science or a master
Yeah.
of art. I
Yeah.
got a master of science because that's what I wanted to focus on. But even like as I was going through that program, I really started opening up to like the art piece of it, which is, obviously as a therapist, I'm learning different like approaches to managing your wellness, managing your mental health, managing
Right.
your thought processing, how
Right.
you relate to yourself, how you
Right.
heal from trauma, how you manage your regulation, like all those things that you'd want a therapist to be knowledgeable about. But I didn't go into therapy because I feel that I have like life figured out and I need to tell everybody.
Well, yeah.
Right?
I hope not.
Yeah, it's not why I did it or
Yeah.
even why I do it still. I do think my skill and like
That's what pastors do. That's what
Right.
religious pastors do.
Yeah,
Like,
my
I got it all figured out. Let me tell you how to live.
yeah, my skill and focus is in building a relationship with people to help them like
Right.
engage with their own strength.
Right.
Like at a very, that might sound fluffy, I think it kind of does, but like ultimately that's what I want to do is like help
Yeah.
people get, and my ultimate goal is for people to live engaged, fulfilling lives and like to deconstruct whatever's keeping them from doing that
Yeah.
and helping them based like with my like understanding and expertise that I'm like studying and trying to apply and like utilizing that within their skills and their
Yeah.
interests to work through the things that are keeping them from doing that.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I can even see that in your story where you grew up in religion and you weren't able to be engaged. You
Yes,
weren't able
exactly.
to live a present life.
Yeah.
And then you realize, oh, I can actually do that.
Exactly.
I can actually be
Yes.
alive.
Yeah, it's
Let
definitely
me-
drawn from that. Where
Yeah,
I'm like,
let me
I've
help-
lived that. I've lived
Yeah.
that sleepwalking life, that
Yes.
discontented
Yep.
life because
Yep.
you just feel so disengaged, disconnected. Like
Yep.
nobody deserves to move
No.
through life that way.
No.
And I think there are a ton of different reasons why you might feel that way.
Oh,
It
absolutely.
could
I
be
can think
trauma,
of
it could
10
be-
right
yeah,
now.
Right.
Yeah.
Tons. And so, yeah, just like working through that. And I do come at it more so like how you're describing, right? Where
Yeah.
it is like a lot of like problem solving kind
Sure.
of based where I'm like, okay, like what's going on? How can we face it?
Yeah.
I do like depth work, I'd say. Like
What is that?
integrate. That's what would be like the inner child work, the cognitive processing therapy.
Yeah.
That's more
That's the stuff that I was hoping I could get from somebody.
because it's
know?
a balance. You always, or I always try to balance, and a lot of time like up front when my therapy is on the day-to-day applicable like skills and concepts up front to better manage day to day.
Yeah.
And then that opens up our opportunity to then dive into the maybe deeper wounds
Yeah.
and start healing those. But like a psychodynamic therapist who's going to
Okay.
be more influenced by like Freud and like the subconscious
Okay.
is going to be more so like, I mean, it operates similarly, but is going to be much more about like internal dynamics and like uncovering the subconscious, right? It's a lot more reading
what,
in that.
What about the subconscious? Just anything?
I mean, I'm not super like versed.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not.
not the area you went into.
No,
Yeah,
it
yeah.
doesn't. I think a lot of what
Like,
draws
oh, you have an Oedipus complex with your mother. That is why you eat pizza every morning and eat cereal without the milk, just dry every night. And yes.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
You flip the lights 3 times before you go to bed. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, that's chapter 1 for
That's
sure. Psychodynamic chapter 1.
Psychodynamic chapter. See, I could do it. I could do it. It's not hard.
You're gonna have a master's degree by the end of this episode.
All right, I can't wait. Sign up. Micah's Freudian psychotherapy class. We're going to get down to the bottom of this.
Call yourself Sigmund Herrera.
Sigmund Herrera. Yes.
What was your question? You distracted me with the
Well, what is
pizza
therapy to
drive-thru.
you?
No, you asked something specifically about psychodynamic.
I just asked what it was.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I think I just asked what it was.
I was gonna say, so it is much more like psychoanalyzing.
Yeah.
I don't do a lot of that. Whenever I tell people I'm a therapist, they want me to psychoanalyze. And I'm like, that's not what I do. Like,
what is define psychoanalyzing. Like, how is that different from what you do?
Like, I don't think that I have, and maybe people are gonna judge me for this. I know this already, but I'm feeling right now like I am self-conscious about this.
Okay.
Like, I don't think that I am an expert on like human dynamics or like human, even like psychology, in the way that like you can tell me what's going on and I can like tell you A to Z what's going on. I just don't think, I don't know if that skill exists. I know that I don't have it. My skill more lies in joining with people and standing side by side with them, looking at their lives and making connections for sure. But I'm not going to like hear about somebody and have like a prepared psychoanalyzed like deduction of them,
like what I just
that
tried to do.
People expect me to have. Whenever I like go to a family reunion, it's like
they start like
jokingly in jest. I'm just like,
like what's wrong with me?
Yeah, I'm like,
read me.
Yeah, for sure. I'm like, okay. You already know what's wrong with you.
Yeah. Well, it is hard because if you start making assumptions about people's life experience, that's very I know I have thought a lot about my own psychodynamics, and I've talked about them in episodes, but that's because I've thought long and hard about my own life that I lived.
Yes.
And if I'm trying to put that on somebody else, like I'm not going to know everything about that.
Yeah, and I do think it's so individualized. Like, I think there are obviously shared experiences, there's shared like ways our brain operates, the way we're socialized for sure, but we're so individual.
Well, you can know some of the big ones.
Yeah.
You know,
for sure.
If you are given violence as a child, you're going to get violence as an adult.
Right.
Like, I mean, if you're trained to like, if you're trained to accept love in a certain way as a child, you're going to accept love in a certain way as an adult. That's a level, like you can understand. But are you going to be able to tell the story of how their mom, or their dad or their uncle or whatever, or that friend that they had, did the thing? And I don't know.
And more like what you described, right? Of wanting to be able to look at like patterns and identifying like solutions to it. That is very aligned with like a CBT base. Yeah. Right. CBT is a structured way of, let's try this structure of looking at the way you're thinking about things, the way you're approaching things, and see if we can make intentional adjustments that improve your ability to engage with them. Right?
Well, I have a bet. I bet that in the future, turtleneck wearing, cardigan vest wearing, George the therapist will definitely have a better grasp on the patterns of psychodynamics.
For sure.
Just out of experience.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah.
Out of seeing so many people's lives laid bare before you, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Because right now you're collecting data.
That's true.
And you're helping people, you're helping people effectively. But you're also like, I haven't lived 300, 400 lives yet. Yeah.
That's true. That's a good point.
So I look forward to that. Let's
we'll check back in 25 years.
Yeah, when you've written your book. And yes, it's this Freud 2.0. This is the Alexander method.
Yeah. So the experiences, as much as you would like to talk about them on a public podcast, that you have had with therapy, then you said that it was just listening without any like solution giving, or not even
so the
solution
first
giving.
one I went to, her solution, which I get. Okay, she would listen to me, but I was having emotional trauma from a relationship ending that I had had for a very long time in my life. And just this person was had completely shut me out of their life, so I had no more contact. This was a person that I had thought I would be able to know until I die. And that was very important to me that would be the case. It ended up not being the case. So and when that first happened, it was very raw. I was just tons of raw emotions. I didn't know what to do. I was feeling suicidal. I was feeling like there's no future, like I have no hope. I don't understand what to do with my life. I have to build up my world from the ground up again. I didn't even know how to say these things. I was just in emotional turmoil. And all she kept telling me to do was I had to go to this person and who had shut me out of their life completely. She was like, well, you need to write them a letter and tell them that, that you need this back from them because that was a big thing to me. There was a thing I couldn't understand.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. That they had kept that was mine. Or at least, whatever.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't want to say it wrong, but
I get you.
But they had kept, and I didn't understand it. It was hurting me a lot. It was hurting me so much. And she was like, "Well, to get rid of that hurt, you're gonna have to at least I guess she was trying to get me to put a nail in the coffin on that. If they didn't respond about this matter, then I could lay it to rest or something. I don't know. But that's all she would talk about.
But the solution was just trying to get you to do something that you weren't comfortable doing.
I wasn't comfortable doing it because they had shut me out of their life and basically been like, do not contact me. Don't ever contact, do not.
Yeah.
So I was like, I can't feel good about this.
Yeah.
I feel terrible. This makes me feel like a terrible person if I force my way into their life, being like, well, where's, what's going on here? I have to know, this is hurting me so bad. I just felt like that was such a emotional sucking thing to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, I need help understanding what's going on in my brain right now.
Yeah.
I need help understanding how I can manage these emotions, because no matter what happens with this other person, and what's most likely going to happen, or what I'm being told is going to happen, is that they're never going to talk to me again. I'm going to have to deal with that either way. So I need help dealing with that.
Yeah.
And I just couldn't, I didn't know what, so she wasn't helping me. I was like, can you help me? Can you help me? And I didn't.
Instead of telling me just what to do.
Maybe. I was like, I really wanted to understand myself better. I really wanted to understand what was going on in my mind.
How to hold that pain if you weren't able to get the release from getting the answers.
She was so interested in getting justice for this thing that thing that I wanted to resolve.
Yeah. Do you want to hear a therapy term?
Go ahead.
There's transference and countertransference.
Okay.
And so transference is a psychodynamic concept of, a client kind of projecting another person onto their therapist and responding them into that way. Where I'm going through with a client and they start reacting to me as if I'm a parent, right?
Right.
They're kind of bringing that into a session. Countertransference is when a therapist does that, and it often presents in that thing of caretaking or solution giving that's not actually providing space for other support, but instead just trying to nip the problem. Right. That's what she wanted. She was like, this is hurting you. Maybe it was in good faith. She really wanted to help you.
I don't doubt that it was.
But it was we just got to get rid of this.
Yeah.
Hurry.
And I was I don't think that this is one of those things.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. That's very complex, right? That's
it's a very complex thing. I was trying to, yeah. So I don't know. It just didn't feel right.
Yeah.
The second one was just, he would listen to me and then it was okay, but it was just more listening and asking me questions about how I was feeling. And I'm like, okay. I said, okay, that's fine. I'm not in trauma right now.
Yeah, so you had maybe some space to
this was later down the line after I had figured out how to manage my emotions myself and figured out so now I'm I want to go deeper. Let's go deeper. And this person, they just weren't.
You have a good week?
Yeah,
week?
yeah. That was the question. There it was. It's like, "Do you have a good week? How you feeling? How's everything going?" And then and then they were just like, "Okay, well, yep.
Come back next week."
Yep, come back next week." And I was like, "What the? That's not helping.
No,
That's not helping either. I'm trying to, So then I was just like, "Well, I don't know what to do." So I haven't had one since then.
Okay.
So that's been my experience.
Okay. So hey, thank you for sharing.
Yeah,
I
hopefully
appreciate
that
you
helps.
sharing. Yeah. No, and I hope you. I would hope for you to find a better experience than that.
Yeah.
When you're interested.
Me
if,
too.
If you were.
Me too. Well, maybe when my health insurance gets beefed up enough again. That
Okay,
was
yes.
back when I had a really
health
nice health
insurance,
insurance.
yeah.
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 Now I'm a full-time
self-
musician,
yeah.
so
That
the health
self-pay
insurance
life.
in that great. It's not therapy level. It's definitely not master's degree therapist level insurance. So
You
yeah.
could probably find someone on the street, right?
Yeah. Somebody, yeah.
Nice. Okay.
They're hearing from God.
Yeah.
Cool. I was going to ask you,
Okay,
because you've done a lot of trauma therapy. That was kind of how you started your professional experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
You were in situations with people who were having episodes, like
Experiencing psychosis.
psychosis. Okay, is that what you call it? Yes.
Psychosis or other, not always psychosis, but other symptoms related to substance use and schizophrenia. So like psychosis, disorganization, those sort of things.
So I have a feeling that those ones that I was talking to would not know what to do in that situation. Like maybe they would, I don't know. But what kind of therapy comes across there? What do you do in those?
There's a lot more immediate regulation and safety.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like symptom management in order to return to a baseline in order to then do deeper treatment. Like I have some clients that I've worked for multiples of years that have started when I started working with them, were highly dysregulated, unable to take their medication consistently because that is a big aspect of that treatment.
Sure.
Weren't able to hold jobs, do any of that.
Of course, yes.
But have progressed, and initially the treatment was just, a lot of it was helping them come to terms with their diagnosis, right? Come to terms with what their life is going to look like, with the support they need.
Yeah.
Sitting with them with that, because for me, I 100% empathize with the idea that without a medication, it's difficult to function the way the society expects you to.
Yep.
Right. And but you take that
it's
medication
hard to accept.
And it makes you feel numbed. It makes you feel dulled.
Sure,
right. Like
sure.
that's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah.
Well,
No pun intended.
No pun intended. It is. And so a lot of it was sitting with that and then helping them learn their triggers, helping them learn how to manage, helping them learn how and accept to ask for help when things weren't going right before it got bad enough to get to a point where they're either hospitalized or something else, right?
Yeah.
And then eventually we get some stability and then we progress. I've had clients that go back to school, who get jobs and everything like that.
Amazing. Yeah. All right. Okay. Yeah, it's a little bit different. But then you start doing the work after that. You start taking baby steps towards maybe figuring how to progress from there, right?
Yeah, and it depends. There may be
other talking about.
Right. There may be other, once like those things are established, there's other things that need some support.
Yeah.
Anything
Yeah,
like
I
that.
can imagine.
Yeah.
I can imagine. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
Well, hopefully, I and many others can find good qualified therapists like you, George.
Thank you.
Who can help.
And we'll put some. I can put some links or what have you in this one, like a specific for, and we're gonna maybe let's start transitioning, talk a little bit more specifically when it comes to like faith crisis or faith related therapy.
Absolutely.
But I can put a link to a website called Mormon Mental Health Association. I'm listed there. It's a whole collective of active Mormon members who are therapists to people like me who have left the church but are offering Mormon kind of informed treatment.
Yeah.
So they have a whole directory for the United States. I don't know about outside the United States. So if you're looking for treatment and even if, and we'll start talking about this, like even if you're maybe like what you're going to therapy isn't necessarily related to your experience
Yeah.
in the religion,
Yeah.
but you would like to have somebody who just has that base knowledge.
Yeah.
You can do that.
Yeah.
Or if you specifically have, related to a mission or
Right.
just like the experience of losing faith and how that leaves you somewhat distraught or could.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, before
yeah,
we
so-
transition,
okay. Yeah.
that was a great overview of therapy,
Okay.
especially for people who maybe don't know or haven't been in it or haven't really experienced it. And again, I would go back to what I've said, that a lot of people in religion might be like, well, I don't know how my mind works. God made it, and God loves me, and I don't need to figure it out. Again, like the electricity, we don't know how the light switch works, but it just turns on. And my mind is just it's made by God, and it's made whole by God.
It's unknowable.
Oh, and it's unknowable, right? And God put it, and it's my soul. There's better.
Right.
There's better
Uh-huh.
than just shooting in the dark. There's better than just swinging in the dark. There's better than just praying to God
Yeah.
to make you whole, or if you don't understand yourself, well, I just don't understand myself, but God has me in his hands. You can understand yourself better.
Yes.
You can get to a better place. But religion just teaches you to just go, oh, well, just put that problem over there. I put it in God's hand, and it never gets addressed.
Right.
And that's what we're trying to do with this podcast is,
Let's address it. Yeah.
There's better ways than what religion tries to get you to do.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. No, thank you. I appreciate that. And I think definitely like the approaches that I take or a base take are somewhat like individualistic in the sense that I am like very high on individuals' abilities to
Yes.
care for themselves,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
With support often.
Yeah.
But I do like believe that, right? And
I mean, every
it's an
person should be able to
antithesis
have that
yeah.
autonomy.
Right. Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And of course, like there's genetic factors, there's everything else that
Yeah.
like impact the supports we need or
Yes.
the steps we need to take to care for ourselves. But I just think that the ability to do that rests with each individual.
Yes.
And sometimes you may need assistance to access that, or you may experience trauma that disconnects you from it, or anything else like that. And therapy can be a resource. I also
Yes.
like
It can be a tool for you to use to empower yourself.
Yes, and I'm also very much like, maybe it's not for you.
Sure.
Especially
sure.
like right now,
Sure.
right? Maybe you try it's not for you. I'm not like every person
No,
needs
yeah,
to be
yeah.
in therapy. Well, I'm not every person needs to be in therapy in general, but then also like all the time. I think
Right,
every person
right.
dips into it and relates to it. Some people do enjoy having just like a consistent therapy relationship practice.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Good on you. I
Good.
get it.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
great.
Some people want some immediate like 12 weeks or
Right.
8 weeks, 8
Right.
sessions.
Right.
Dip in, dip out. Sure. Like I think for me, I think therapy, I have my approaches, I have my opinions, I have my base, but I think it should be very much within reason.
Yeah.
Like based
Yeah.
on individual like desires and need to.
Yeah.
You know,
Absolutely.
not just like Wild West, do whatever we want to do. But some say
Absolutely.
some, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Cool. Well, yeah, let's talk about more specifically when it comes to therapy focused on faith
On
transition.
religion?
Yes,
Yeah,
on religion.
All right. Let's get into it. Let's get into
So,
the dirty.
Let's talk about it. Let me ask you
Okay.
again.
Okay. Okay. Hit me.
When you were first deconstructing,
Yeah.
which I believe what it was at the same or around the same time as what you already shared
With
about
what-
that first therapist and her wanting you to reach out to somebody.
Well, that was a little bit
Was
later.
that later?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was a little
Okay.
later.
Okay.
So I
Great.
started
Okay.
deconstructing a few years before
Okay,
that.
perfect. So when you were deconstructing at
Yeah.
the beginning, get into that mindset for me and kind of imagine like what kind of support
Okay.
do you think would have been beneficial at that time for you, if at all?
Any support. I was literally in a cabin in the mountains by myself, just me and my dog.
Yeah.
And I felt like I couldn't talk to anybody about it.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Like I had nobody to talk to about it. Because everybody I knew was in the religion. And I couldn't, when you're going through that, even your parents, so I was in my early 20s. I was like 22, 21, 22. I was saying I was 22-ish. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe 23. It was, you still don't want to, how are you supposed to talk to your fundamentalist religious parents about that?
Yeah.
Of course, I'm not here to try and I already know what they believe. They're not going to understand what I'm going through here. The people in the religion, I was a leader in the religion. All the people around me, everything I'd built up around me were people that were heavily into the religion and were leaders in the religion. So how was I supposed to talk to anybody about that? They're definitely not going to support that. And those questions, they might be like, they might field the doubts and be like, well, yeah, I have doubts too, but you just have faith or whatever
Right.
it is. But
Ultimately invalidating.
right, invalidating the doubts and just give it up to God.
Yeah.
Don't actually look under it and try and figure it out. Just ignore it, push it aside. So anybody would have been great.
Okay. There's a space to be able to talk it out, to be able to talk about the new thoughts you're having.
I even looked for atheist meeting groups.
Did you? Okay. Did you find any?
No. There weren't many. There was one, and it had 5 members on this website that was, I think it was meetup.com, I think.
Okay.
They did, I think it was bigger back then. And I was a little afraid to go because what they were talking about, were basically just, they weren't talking about helping people become atheists. They were just talking about, I guess the subject matters were about bashing religion and bashing all this stuff. And I was like, okay, I mean, that's fine, but I'm trying to figure out if I think this is what I think is true.
Yeah,
this wasn't helping people come out of it. It was just, this is for people who are out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Would you have been looking for somebody?
And I didn't know about deconstruction groups like
Marlene Winnell.
Well, Marlene Winnell. I didn't know about authors.
Yeah,
the authors that did that. There's what's the religion hotline that you can call if you're leaving religion? They help a lot of people who are coming out of
cults.
Cults. They help a lot of people coming out of Islam, especially women, because it can be very dangerous to come out of Islam as a woman. You will get killed.
Yeah.
So they help people like that. Goodness, I forget the name of it, but I'll put the link below.
We'll include that.
I'll include it. Yeah, it's a great organization. Yeah.
So you considered calling them, you said?
No, I didn't know that they existed.
Oh, you didn't know it existed.
I didn't know that. I found out about them later. And yeah.
Right. Okay.
Yeah.
Do you think you were maybe looking for somebody? Because I know you talked about being in a space where you were looking at both sides, right? Would this have been that same period?
Yeah.
Do you think maybe, you were looking for somebody to be objective with you, and that didn't seem to exist, or you couldn't find that?
I think I just didn't know how to talk to anybody about it. I didn't know who I could talk to about it and feel safe about it, and I didn't know what to even talk about.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's where I was. Yeah. So, I mean, I was just figuring it out. It's kind of like coming out as gay in a very religious, right-wing, conservative cult. You don't have anybody to talk to about it, and you just kind of have to keep it to yourself and figure it out. And eventually I did, but I also realized how toxic that was and how harmful that is to not be able to be yourself. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
So anybody would have been great just to talk about it. Yeah. I did have my friend Nick.
Okay.
Who we're hoping to have talked to us at some point on this. We got to talk about it. but he was further behind me on his deconstruction
So
journey. So it was more like I was bringing him along with my experience. But I did have him some of the way, so that's good. Yeah,
for sure. Yeah, I think, I mean, now that after I like reflect on that question, just that space, like I'm thinking of myself in like that 2017 to like probably 20 or mid 2019.
Yeah.
From when like I told Haley I didn't have a testimony, like we've talked about, right? Yeah, like I don't know, who would I have wanted to talk, like who would I have talked to? I definitely felt like I couldn't talk to anyone.
Yeah.
Well, eventually, once I started going to school at Hopkins,
there were people you could talk to.
I started like talking about it in class.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not really sure about this. Like, I don't know. And so I did like able to like
How
start
was that?
doing that. It was good, but then at the same time, like I was just like not saying anything to Haley, so I felt shitty.
Oh, okay.
You know,
you felt bad about it, like you were doing something
like,
behind your back or something.
Yeah, like I was, like to a degree.
Yeah,
I mean, I give myself grace because I was in a cult, but
yeah,
it was shitty. It sucked.
Yeah,
but it was hard. But
did you get any help in the classes at all? Like,
I used to volunteer to role play.
Oh,
and I would be like the client, and I would talk about it.
Yeah.
I would talk about my
you get to talk about your therapy.
I would get therapy in sessions. Yeah, I would. I'd really do it. I was like, I'm not pretending. Like I'm really doing this.
Wow,
like,
talk about real experience.
Yeah, I was just like, no, like I don't, and I think I would share, like, I don't know how to talk about this with my wife. Like, because if I did, it'd be really hard for, like, I would talk about it.
Yeah.
Which was, it was weird.
But therapy can help you with that though, right?
For sure. I mean, like, yes.
I mean, because it's okay to tell a therapist, I don't know how to talk to my wife about this. Yeah, like, and like
that's 100%.
Yeah,
talk through that there, for
because
sure.
It's okay.
Yeah, I'm just thinking now about, maybe this is something to keep putting our minds to, of like how we can make talking about it more accessible to people who aren't like decidedly out yet.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I think that's obviously that's the question, right? Because you're so still like ingrained in the mind control is not the word I want to use, in the conditioning.
Well, that's what this hotline was for. So I will say,
let's share that, 'cause I think
if you're in that area, hit that hotline, because they're not here to convince you. They're just here to help you wherever you're at in your journey.
Yeah.
Even if you're just questioning. And that's okay. I mean, we're here for that too.
Yeah. I mean, and also that's what a therapist should be. Like, I'll say, like, I obviously, I'm pretty sure in my advertising, I do like advertise myself as like ex-Mormon.
Yeah.
Right. So I want everybody to be aware of where I stand with the church.
Yes,
but I am 100% open to meeting with anyone on the spectrum of Mormonism. I would meet with somebody who's full faith and doesn't want to talk about leaving, but just wants me to be informed. I would do that in a heartbeat.
Right.
Right. And if my honest feedback were requested, I would give it in a professional manner that's not like outright leading of like, no, I think that's very like, but I'd be like, do you see how maybe this could be negatively affecting you?
Yeah.
Right? That'd be more the conversation.
I mean, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
Like,
but not...
Wouldn't you want to know?
Right. But not like not a guiding... Like, I have an agenda of what the decision you need to make.
We're trying to make you an atheist.
Right. Yes. No, like even like anybody that came to me, I know for me, like I would be like, hey, I've obviously made a decision. Yeah. I have made a decision for myself individually. Yeah. I have an opinion about whether religion is good or bad. I have those things, but I do not, I can't say I don't have an opinion on the decision you make. 'Cause like I have a decision because I do have beliefs on what's best for you, but I don't have a judgment on the decision that an individual makes for them themselves. Right. All I want, like, it goes back to that same thing. Yeah. If you choose to be in a religion, I hope that you would be aware of the potential pitfalls. Yes. And that you are living an engaged, purposeful, self-driven life. Right. If you're doing that and you find that within religion, I still have my opinions about religion. I still have opinions on that, but like that's your decision to make. Sure. And I just hope that, like, again, like you're able to engage with it in those ways. And that's what I'd want to help support with. not so much like the moment you bring any like doubt to me, I'm like, oh fuck you, let's go.
Yeah, let's go.
No, What about to keep us going?
Yeah,
what about
yeah.
like maybe like down the line, so not immediately or even now? What would you say, like in like processing the experience of leaving, processing the experience of being in faith? What do you think would be like? Yeah, what
these
would
days? I mean,
the
lately I've
support?
been needing support. I think I talked to you about this. That I've been having a lot. I think I sent you a message about this. That I've been having a lot of emotions come up, and a lot of that I possibly would need some therapy help with. Just processing, because so much, yes, you come out of religion, but there's so much to process there, especially with all the parts of it that I've been through. Lately, it's been the grooming that happened to me.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, that was a huge one.
Right.
Still is trying to understand. I'm trying to understand how that has affected me.
Okay.
And, what that means for my life and what that has done to my life.
Okay.
Do I live in a victim mentality? No, absolutely not.
No, yeah.
But did that happen to me? Absolutely, yes. I'm thankful. I'm thankful for the way I was, because I'm like, I'm not the one, when it came to crossing certain lines. But
yeah,
I was there, and it happened.
And and even beyond like the point or like the lines crossed, you did have like a significant relationship that was one way to you, or like you thought it was, that ended up being something completely different.
Right.
Like what is like you're
and
kind of saying, what does that do?
That affects
right?
the way that I'm able to accept love.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I mean, of course I'm going to be skeptical. What do you want from me? What is it ultimately that you're trying to get from me? You have to learn to trust again. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So processing that. The impact.
Yeah.
You were saying and emotions coming up related to that, you mean?
Emotions, yes. There's
like
a lot of emotions about the way that religion made me hate and shame myself.
Okay. And
because when I came out of it, I was just like, oh yeah, I'm just mad that I can't believe they made me believe this lie, and I can't believe that I wasted so much of my time living my life wanting this. But now I can see where my own personal hatred and shame that I was taught to have in the church, which of course they're never going to say that's what they're doing to you. And they're not, and most people aren't even going to realize that that's what's happening, but that is what's happening. Like we've talked about plenty of times, you're born a sinner, you have to be redeemed. You're nothing without God. God is the one that makes you strong. You're not strong on your own. You can't trust yourself. All these things are hate and shame.
Yeah.
And then, obviously, all the other stuff about me. So processing how that has affected my life and my inability to figure out how to love myself. I've been on the longest fucking journey of how to love myself and feel strong with myself and feel confident with myself. And confidence. I've had my closest friends tell me over my lifetime, oh, Micah, you're so amazing. If you just had some confidence, you would just, I'm like, I don't know how to have confidence. I don't know, cause, and I'm realizing, I was taught never to have confidence in myself. I was taught, always have humility.
Yeah.
And never fully be confident in your own power. I'm starting to learn that. What I learned in the church was false confidence, was false assurance.
Yeah.
You get up from that pulpit and you say it like it's true. I can fake that, but having real confidence is a totally different story. Having real confidence in yourself and actual confidence in who you are, and not always making excuses for yourself, or not always downplaying yourself, not always saying you're not smart enough, you're not strong enough, maybe you didn't have the right situation in life, you weren't born, you were given the wrong cards, and that's just what it is. And And yeah, I was dealt the cards I was dealt, but I have amazing strengths that I need to be confident in. And I have had the hardest time over my lifetime
Yeah.
believing in myself. It angers me.
Is that the emotion that comes up when you say like emotions coming up? It is like continued anger about the
Yes.
fact that
Yes.
the experiences you've had
That
have
I've-
resulted in that, and you're still working through it.
Yeah.
Like after all this time.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So religion played a part in that
Yeah.
for sure. Obviously, my childhood played a part. You know, I don't know. I don't know where those came in. I need to figure those out.
Yeah.
But somewhere in there, I learned not to be confident in myself and not to believe in myself. Actually, believe in myself. Yeah, and need. Yeah. So, yeah.
Thank
So,
you. For
so those
sharing.
things. So, I'm sorry. We're full therapy session today with George.
I was about to say,
Thanks,
any
George.
therapist listening, Micah's ready to get to work. So just call him up.
We got plenty of work to do, y'all. Plenty.
No, but I think thank you for sharing again. I know
Sure.
I am
Well,
I
thanks
am
for
inviting you
opening
to
up.
be
You
very
can cut me off at any point. by the way.
No. I think it was. I mean, I like recognizing patterns,
Yeah,
like you're saying.
Yeah.
I think so many people relate to that. I relate to that, right?
Yeah,
This
yeah.
idea of, like my self-worth, my confidence being like, so like I always felt it was somewhat disjointed for me, the way that I experienced like religion.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then going through the experience where when I left the church, I was immediately like, oh, like I can take this back.
Yep.
And like, I feel like I had this moment of relief
Yeah.
and like contentment, and like with my decision, I was like, this is the right thing for me. Like I feel so great. And then it snuck right back up on me because those things were still unaddressed, because I still did, whether like subconsciously or what have you, believe those messagings, or still had like carried that about where my worth came from, that I was nothing without God.
Yeah.
Those messages, they stay with you. Like they're with you.
Well, as
right?
a worship leader, that was the
Yeah.
whole job, was to sing songs that tell you, I'm nothing without you. You're everything, and you're all that matters. Which in reverse means I don't matter at all.
Yeah.
It was the whole culture of what I was doing.
Yeah.
Was this type of like, I am so small and God is so big,
Yeah.
and always having that perspective of how small I am.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think especially like losing faith and still having that like toxic, because like I think there's a way where you buy into that,
Yeah.
and you may not feel, I think it's still not healthy,
Right.
but I feel, and I don't know this for sure because I never bought into it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
But I get the impression
Yeah.
that you can buy into that idea, believe it fully, and not necessarily like feel the impacts or like be aware of it.
Okay.
But then when you lose faith and you
Yeah.
don't believe in a God
Yeah.
anymore,
Yeah.
but that kind of like template is still in your like worldview or in like your subconscious again,
Yeah.
like how do you move forward with that? Like that is like,
Well, you
I-
keep using
the-
that template if
right.
you don't fix it.
right, for sure.
If you don't
Like,
readjust
yeah.
it, you'll keep using that template.
Yeah. Mhm.
And and then you'll just be in the same situation.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. No, because I think it is a toxic idea, but I
Yeah.
think it's like even like
I mean, the words we
Further,
repeated
yeah.
all the time. I'm lost without you.
Yeah.
I'm nothing without you. But because of God.
dirt,
Yeah.
your dirt, all that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And and the emotions of affirmation that you would feel when you would sing those things and you would say those things.
Yeah,
So yeah, it gets ingrained.
for sure.
It gets ingrained.
Yeah. I'm thinking we move to those 3 different concepts or
Okay.
ideas. Is that okay?
Okay. Yeah.
How long
How do
have
we
been-
wrap up this section? What were we learning here? What were we?
I was just wanting to leave you emotionally vulnerable.
Okay, thank you. Because now I'm like, well, We opened that can of worms.
No, we were talking about the help you would be looking for. As it relates
Where
to,
can we? How can we get some? Yes.
Right.
Yes.
What would be the kind of help? And now, hopefully,
get out of- yeah.
going through these three things can kind of give a snippet, a little teaser, if you will,
Yeah.
of how in therapy you could hopefully work through
those things and help those things. Yes.
Yeah.
There is
Does that feel
yes,
okay?
Yes.
Okay.
There is better.
Yeah. Okay.
There is better. We can get to a better place.
We can get there.
My wrap up of that.
Yeah,
would
for sure.
be
Thank you.
that,
Yeah, sorry.
yes, for all those vulnerabilities that I have, and those things that I have felt, I'm on a journey to getting better. And I see people who are better and I'm learning from them, which is great. Amazing. And I also have learned from that, like you have, to want to help people in therapy live attentive and full lives that are alive.
Yeah.
I love in doing everything I can to instill confidence with my friends.
Yeah.
I love that. I see them all as amazing stars. So, I get to tell them how amazing they are all the time and like gas them up. It's insane. It's amazing. And then watch them do incredible things. Yeah. So, there's better ways to do it.
Absolutely.
I think the church would try and steal that from me, like where, you can't, that's all pride.
Yeah.
I know, baby. No.
Yeah.
My friends are incredible and they do incredible things. And that's where I take it.
Thank you. Yeah. And of course, like I don't think that therapy is the only solution, right? Or the
No. I do my form of
yeah, and like going back, I think even when we did our first recommendations, I think my first recommendation was community.
Yeah,
right. I do think that is such an essential piece and is very easily robbed from you, especially like growing up in a high demand religion that teaches you that the moment you leave, that you're flawed, broken, alone, all those different things like that's not true. And so, connecting with other people and pouring into them, letting them pour into you is like a huge part too.
It's amazing what people can do with a little bit of support.
Yes.
It's amazing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Let's see. Should we start with the values?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's start with values. This one is probably the least like depth ridden, I guess. There's some depth to it.
Oh, I think so.
There definitely is.
It's quite revealing.
Yeah, for sure. So
I like things with lots of depth. I like seeing how far deep I can go into. That's so much of my psychology.
So I'm going.
That's one of the gifts, or one of the things that one of the gifts from God.
What do they call them? Gifts of the Spirit? No.
Yeah. So, well, that's
Spirit
one of them.
gifts,
that's one of the
or
things they say.
gifts.
But those are
gifts of the
actually
Spirit. Those
those are
like
defined.
Speaking in tongues and right.
Yes, and there's defined ones, and I don't remember them because I've tried to push it out of my brain
for sure.
Because who needs to fucking know that?
Yeah.
But there's gifts of like preaching, of good gifts of or like the gift of being able to preach and spread the message, or people who give, or people who build.
Yeah,
I don't know, man. I don't remember them all.
Well, so we're gonna talk about this values card sort now.
Okay, let's do it.
Again, a subset or a common technique, intervention, focus of acceptance commitment therapy, which is ACT, A-C-T.
Okay. Acceptance commitment therapy.
Yes.
Committing to accepting yourself.
Yes.
So
it's cognitive behavioral therapy with a couple hats on top of it. It's cognitive behavioral therapy, which is, the idea based in or influenced by Stoicism, which we've talked about.
Right. Yes.
Is this idea that we can basically, it's different than like just tell yourself you're okay. Like that's not the messaging, but it is that we have an ability to change the way we view things, and by changing the way we view or relate to things, we can feel better, or we can feel differently, or we can feel more neutral at the very least.
Yeah.
So it's less like, again, just like feel better, but like put effort into
Yeah.
changing the way you
Evidence
you view
with
or relate
evidence-based
things.
yes, therapy.
Yes.
Yeah, it's because
So-
cognitive-based therapy, because last time I taught, it was taking stoicism is being able to set yourself aside from your emotions rather than being reactionary. You can take action.
Yeah. Be more intentional.
Yeah, be more intentional about,
Right.
you can receive the emotion, let it flow through you, then you can understand it.
And then make a
And
decision.
then make a decision
Yeah.
rather than just being reactionary to
On track
whatever
to it.
emotion is
Yeah.
happening and tripping your brain wires.
And it's not necessarily like tricking yourself to like see things the way they aren't so that you don't get mad. Like that's
Right.
not the idea.
No.
It's see things the way they are and then respond accordingly.
And should I be mad? Maybe I should.
it's like, okay, then how do I respond to that
Yeah,
anger?
yeah,
I don't
yeah.
need to break something. You were right. like
Right,
that
rather
whole-
than before you even think about it, just reacting.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the base of acceptance commitment therapy. And then it adds mindfulness, which with that,
I love.
Right. Which that brings like the acceptance piece and the
Yeah.
idea that like our resistance against things is more so the thing that brings us like discontentment rather than the things themselves. And
Okay.
so if we can introduce a level of accepting things the way that they are, it's going to increase our ability to do what you were just describing, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And then also it includes this values portion, which is probably my favorite part of it. I'm a mindfulness fan as well.
Yeah.
I love me some mindfulness.
Mindfulness is incredible.
Yeah.
That's one of my favorite things of all time.
Yeah.
That's how you are present.
Yeah, right.
That's how you become present. That I've said this, but that is the ultimate goal of my life, is to be as present
Yes.
as I can be in every moment.
Yeah.
That's how you make a good life. If you want my opinion on it. That's just my
If you're
opinion.
asking.
That's just my opinion.
And you press play, so you are asking.
As someone was asking, being fully mindful in every moment.
Yeah.
Good, bad, whatever it is,
Like that.
that is fully living your life. This short life that you've got, you might as well be present for
Yeah.
it. And if you are, that's the full life.
Right. Okay, I'm going to pass this to you now. This
Okay.
is a website I've been using. Let me look into it.
Is this the one you
more.
sent me?
Did I send that to you?
Yeah. I think so. I can't. Yes.
Did you look at this?
I looked at it. I did
That's
not
fine.
do it.
Well, you're going to do a little bit.
Okay,
There's
okay,
a lot of things. So let's start with this.
I already
so,
see one I like.
So values are what? What would you say values are if I asked you? Like, what would you say?
Values are?
Yeah. What are not like examples, but like what are they as an
Well,
idea?
I think of like I've developed a creed for myself, or
Okay.
yeah. So
So like something that
commitment
guides
to-
the way you live your life.
Yeah. So
Okay.
Truth,
Okay.
integrity,
Yeah.
bravery, courage.
Okay. You don't need to do this exercise. But
Oh,
yeah.
is that? I have 5 of them, and they're
Okay, yeah.
Is that what this is?
Just keep going. Yeah. So
Oh, but
what is
no,
it?
no, no,
Truth,
no, no,
bravery, integrity.
Courage, and yes,
Okay.
truth, integrity, bravery,
bravery,
courage,
courage.
and strength.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah.
Where did
I mean love, sorry. Love.
Okay.
Bravery, courage, love. Yeah.
where does that come from? How do you find those? How did you settle on that? What as much as you, again, I'm really asking you to be vulnerable tonight.
This was in my swimming, in the trying to rebuild my life and not knowing.
I was like, you were a swimmer?
No. This was the emotional turmoil.
Okay, yeah. So
I have to rebuild my life from the ground up. I don't know how I'm going to live or what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
There's no future that I see anymore. Who am I going to be? And I just thought about, one day I thought, if I was going to have a creed that I want everyone to remember me by, or that I want to live by, and that are, yeah, those are them. So, and I thought about it. And so, yeah.
I'm honestly like blown away because that's exactly what the purpose of this exercise is.
I told you I stumbled on ACT myself.
100% like is helping people do that very thing.
Yeah.
Is fine because wow.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't even. Okay, amazing. That's insane. That's or not insane. That's amazing. That's really beautiful.
Oh,
I'm glad you
cool.
found
I'm so
that.
glad,
I'm glad that
yeah.
worked for you. That it's
Yeah.
So that's the very idea, is helping people do that very thing. And I think
Okay.
leaving a religion, it's something that I think it can be very helpful so let me maybe describe the exercise really quick.
Okay.
What the exercise is.
I'm already sorting and I'm not, you haven't
Yeah,
even
go ahead.
started.
No, but the exercise is like a list of value examples.
And
which,
it's got a bunch. There's
right.
like acceptance, assertiveness, authenticity, adventure.
All the
care.
5 that you shared I don't know if they're all on that list,
Okay,
but they
yeah.
would all qualify for sure. I know love and courage definitely are.
Yeah.
And like this is, you can find a million different lists. Like this isn't like
Should I find my ones that
you're right.
that I said?
But the idea is that you're splitting them. Initially, you have this list and you go through and you split them into, sometimes it's 3 to 4 different categories, but to say just 3 simply, it's most important, somewhat important, and not important, right?
Yeah.
You organize those things, and then ultimately you get it down to 5 top. That is the exact goal. Is you then focus in on your most important and you get it to your 5.
Yeah.
And exactly like you described, right? It's the things that I think like what I want to be remembered for is a good way to put it, right? Or just like the things that if they're present in my life, if I'm engaged with them, lead to me feeling fulfilled and engaged in my life, right?
Okay.
And oftentimes, of course, like when you're leaving a religion, going through many different life transitions,
Yeah.
like that's just so confusing. Like what do I care about? What is important to me? What do I want to be? Especially if things like humility are so ingrained. Like I've been going through this with some clients, and like humility, patience, these different ideas that are super pushed by the church, by religion for somewhat controlling reasons ultimately, right?
Yeah.
Feel very disconnected. And so there may be some work you identify in there of needing to reclaim a relationship with that, right? Or you may just need to decide that that's not something that I value, even though I was told I needed to value it against all odds. But ultimately the goal is exactly what you described, is getting to 5 to then utilize as a creed, and it varies between person to person. Again, like this, I think therapy should be dependent upon the individual person. And so it depends. Some people just are doing a check-in, or just seeing like, what do I need to be focusing on right now?
Yeah.
Versus like, what are the things that are going to bring me the most, whether it be joy or peace or what have you.
Yep.
So yeah, that's what that one is. And
damn, I've seen the words that I used
we
in
already
here.
did it off mic. That's really great though. I mean,
I told you I was trying to, I think I told you, like I stumbled on ACT.
You did? Okay.
Like on my own. Like I've never known what it was called.
Yeah.
Just through my own whatever, like going through the void, I did my own version of ACT. And that's, I think since you've brought it up, I've mentioned a few times.
Yeah.
That I can create every day is a huge importance to me.
We've definitely
That's like the
talked about that.
number one thing. I have to, it fills me with joy every day. So there you go. But absolutely not important to me is an interesting one. Happiness.
Okay.
I will tell you any day, happiness is not a goal. And I don't know if that's helpful or anybody. I mean, it can be your goal.
Yeah.
But to me, I care more about, I think happiness, to me, if it's a symptom, a side effect, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome.
I get that.
But is not my goal because for me, part of religion is about seeking happiness in front of truth, in front of honesty, or what's really happening, or what's really true. If you're just seeking happiness and feel goods, okay, but that's not the reality.
No.
Right? That's not reality. And yeah, I mean, but for me, I've never wanted to be in this milieu of like, oh, I'm just fooling myself into being in a happy space in this reality that's not actually real.
Mm-hmm.
Like this matrix, my own created matrix.
Right. Because it's fairly unreasonable to be happy all the time. Right? Like
absolutely. Absolutely.
And so that isn't that's not a present life. That's not an engaged life, right?
Yeah.
It can be, I agree with that too. Like happiness being more a byproduct rather than a goal or something.
Yeah. These have some more words that I like that I may like, I like some of these
poke
words.
around
There's
with
like
that. I think it's a good
skillfulness is huge for me.
Yeah.
I'm on a journey to mastery right now.
Yeah, no, you got a couple skills. I know that.
I'm trying to be skillful. I like this. Okay.
Yeah.
This is cool. So I've done some sorting. Like I did some sorting.
Yeah,
I didn't all of them, but
so like within like a therapy session, just like give a bit more background or so I provide this to clients as something that they can do like on their own.
And there's 3 categories: most important to me, somewhat important to me, not important to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you go through those, you separate out, and then you zoom in on most important at the end.
Okay.
It's kind of like the steps. That's how. So what I do with people when I'm doing this like in session, is we'll go through them together. We'll talk about what comes up as it's going through.
Yeah.
I invite them to like pay attention to their internal reactions when they first read something, but then also allowing them to like work through and talk through where they'd like it to be.
Yeah.
You know, a lot of people like go in and out of being like, this is just something that I just know so well about myself, or like, this is something I have a lot of aspiration for, so I'm going to put in more important because I know it's something that I don't naturally go to,
right?
Or that I'm very disconnected
that
from.
I want to,
but I want
towards.
to,
yeah,
right?
Yeah,
like mindfulness is often there,
but that's
right?
important.
Absolutely.
If you want something,
yes,
yeah,
because you know it's something that maybe you don't naturally plug into, or you've through your experience been disconnected from, but you know that it's something that will bring you, or you hope that it's something will, and you want to explore that, right? Yeah, so like in a therapy session, I go through somebody and then help them get down to 5. And that's just like a way to like simplify and then also just help with some weighing and some self-reflection.
Yeah.
And then utilizing that like through treatment as we move forward, of kind of checking in on those things, like where are we at? Like, are these like what I just said, right? Which ones are the ones that are most present for you, or just like describe who you are, versus the aspirational ones? And we keep that in mind as we move through treatment and work to connect with them as a way to, again, like when you're losing a faith, you're losing a worldview, you're losing a way you're supposed to look at everything and everybody around you.
Yeah.
And for the first time, probably, you're being invited and told you have the permission to choose what that is. Yeah. You have permission to not accept what was written in a book thousands of years ago or whenever, and instead pay attention to what works for you, what brings you joy, and go after that and start there.
Because first on my not important to me list is humility.
Oh, yeah? Nice.
Absolutely not important to me. And that's, of course, religion's like, you have to be humble.
Number 1. Mm-hmm.
Conformity.
Yeah.
Absolutely on my not important to me. Yeah. Can you imagine? And what does religion tell you? Yeah. Of course, it forces you to. You've got to be our ideal of Jesus. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Are you kidding? Some of these not important to me are like, they're not like bad. They're just not, as important to me. So I don't want to put them in.
Are there any that, other than like humility, which is super like religion coded?
Yeah.
Are there any that you maybe have like an initial like, oh, I should probably put that, but then you're like, no, like kindness or honesty or anything like that?
Let's see. So respect.
Interesting.
I don't know if respect is the word. I think I want to translate that to reverence. Like,
oh, interesting.
I am the most. I have thrown reverence outside of the door, and this like unearned respect.
Yes.
Or the idea that you should just have respect for whatever that's unearned. Sorry, no, absolutely not. I do not just like automatically give respect. Tradition, yeah, absolutely not. Yeah, I will burn it to the ground. Like, I do not. No. Absolutely not.
Yeah.
There's one, let's see here. So safety is one that I put in the not important to me.
Oh, interesting.
Because it is a thing that I think it's one thing that I don't want to have to be important to me in a way. I don't know. We're doing therapy now. But I think that was such a thing that religion took advantage of, was my need to feel safe. That, like... Yeah. That...
So you don't want to have that need.
I don't want to have that need.
So that it can't be exploited.
So that it can't be exploited.
Interesting. Yeah.
So there you go. So we could...
I'm telling you, anyone that wants to work with Micah, he's ready. He's got his 5 values.
We got the... Oh, Jesus. Yeah, we could go there. But see, no one was doing this with me.
Right. I mean, I would say even like outside of just like religion, like society
Yeah.
overall, I don't think that we're taught to do this and like
Right.
clarify what's important to us.
Well, I just meant a therapist was not doing this with
Oh,
me.
gotcha. Yeah.
Like, well, this is what I wanted.
Yeah.
This would
will
have been great.
I'm going to charge you my regular rate after this
yeah.
episode.
You're not going to see Micah for a few weeks, y'all. I've got to be working the streets.
All right.
Busking. You know, yeah. No.
Let's move to another one. So again, like that's, I think, a very useful tool.
Yeah.
Very useful. Again, I use that especially with clients who have gone through a faith crisis, a faith transition.
Yeah.
But I use it outside of that too. I just think it's a very useful tool to tune into yourself, plug into what's important, and then from there, I think it leads to increased, feeling of like self-assurance in a way, and also it provides some treatment clarity too of like further understanding, like what do we get into more, like what comes up.
Well, why is safety not in your?
Yeah, that's a good. We'd have a couple sessions on that one. So let's see.
George.
Should we do processing therapy or inner child next? Your choice. What do you think?
Well, you mentioned inner child, and we've talked about it before. So
let's dip in there.
That's just
quick.
where immediately I was thinking, okay, why not?
Yeah, let's dip in there. We won't spend too much time. I wanted to, like I said, we did like talk through in an episode. I think that was like episode 3. I'd say like our second reconstruction episode.
Well, I gave an overview of inner child work.
Yeah,
but that's my layperson overview reading Marlene Winnell's book.
I'm gonna give a little more of like the applicability, I would say now, of how it could be helpful and in what ways and what it might look like inner child work.
Yeah, great.
And disclaimer on this one.
We can define inner child work again.
Go.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I'll fill in
Well, to me,
gaps.
inner child work is viewing that core part of yourself that is your part, basically the most you. Maybe that you're born with. I don't know exactly where you get it from, all of it. Neither do religious people. They don't know where they will tell you they know, but they don't know.
Comes from intelligences. You didn't watch the video?
Oh yeah, the intelligences that are smaller than atoms. Yes. So don't give me your bullshit that you know where it comes from. But whatever makes you.
Yeah.
It's accessing that it's accessing that core self and viewing them as your inner child to help them progress and come along with you in life, and to basically have access to that core self. Because a lot of times who you are as a core self learns to protect itself by not showing, not fully being itself, because to live in the world, maybe to live in religion, I have to be this way, and I can't, and my core self is not in line with that, so I have to push that in the corner. Sometimes your inner child or your inner core self gets abused, so you have to help, and that child will act out, that inner core self will act out. I guess the idea is that as a child, we are purely ourselves, and then we learn ways of being in the world that can be self-limiting or self-destructive or self-harming. And inner child work is about going back to that inner child and healing that inner child, understanding that inner child, and then bringing that inner child along with us, and allows us to grow into our adulthood. Is that?
Yeah. I think that's great.
That's my interpretation.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
Of it. Okay.
I'd
Cool,
say
cool.
just to like further talk about that. No, I thought that was apt.
All right, apt. Cheerio. Apt.
No, so I think, absolutely everything you said. Plus, just to add on to it, I think of inner child work like when it comes to therapy, right?
Yeah.
One of like my perspective on therapy, because I am like I do work from the CBT base, but I do like use different strategies, different techniques, different like IFS, internal family systems, is a very kind of popular, more recent development.
Yes,
of
you've
approach.
mentioned this a few times.
I need to do more training on that before
We'll
I
have to
talk about it.
but
I'm in the middle of a
It's
training.
very interesting to me.
I'm in the middle of a training that will leave me as an IFS informed clinician, not like
Yeah.
certified. So
Okay.
once I finish that, we'll
How do
have
you
an
get to
episode.
certified after that?
You have to, it's like a whole waitlist lottery thing just because it's so
Oh.
high demand.
Oh,
Like I
okay.
joined, well, I think they've changed it now. I just don't have the money. Like before, I was like entering every lottery. So many people want to
Yeah.
get trained on
Yeah,
it. And
yeah.
it's very recent. But I was able to get into just like a not as like intensive course
Oh,
from
okay.
the same, like from the main guy.
Yeah.
Dick Schwartz is his name.
Okay.
That again, like from like a professional level and like my marketing, I'll be able to call myself IFS informed. So I haven't been
I see.
fully trained, but I have like a kind of serviceable grip on the concepts and the ideas.
Yeah,
Once
yeah,
I
yeah.
finish the training.
I
So
feel
once I
that.
do that, we'll have another maybe another one of like a similar episode to this on that.
Yeah.
But all that to say, right? These are like, I view these as just different lenses we can take to view our internal experience to try to figure it out and relate to it in the most effective way.
I'm all about the fantasy.
Yeah.
I love putting things into a fantasy context so I can understand
Yeah,
them or I
it's-
can live them out. Yeah, that's very fun.
Like a new way, whatever it's going to be.
Yeah.
And so like inner child work is like how I see that, right? It's a
Yeah.
lens at which to like view yourself and your internal experience.
Yes.
And find growth, find peace, find healing.
Okay.
Right. And I think it is a split between similar to what I was talking before, like the immediate needs and the depth work.
Yeah.
Right? What are you laughing about? What are you laughing about?
Don't make me laugh.
I'm not.
I know. I was listening to you. I just had a thought in my head. I was
Say
thinking,
it.
I was just thinking because we've been doing this whole episode. You've been opening me up, and I'm like, and there's this episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia where Frank, he's like, "Oh, Doc, you opened me up. You got me. Oh." It's like, and he's like, "Oh, I'm just," and he starts crying, and he's like, "Oh, it's all coming out now."
We're almost there.
I'm just
wait.
thinking about dinner afterwards, and I'm gonna have to be like, "Damn, dude, you got me." Therapy George got me.
Yeah.
It had nothing to do with right now, but my brother will appreciate that. I hope you saw that part. I did that for you, Martin. All right, go ahead. Sorry,
No,
sorry.
you're
It
good.
just
Totally good.
Had a moment.
But yeah, like I was saying before, there's like the immediate needs and like the depth work and like the deeper healing.
Yeah.
And I think there's like a dichotomy in like inner child work as well. Like there's
Yeah.
the idea of treating yourself like your inner child, like you're treating like an
Yes.
inner child, right? Relating
Yes.
to yourself in a way that you would to, like you said, like an innocent, pure version of yourself. Like,
Yes.
are you going to treat that child the way that you may have been framed to treat that, the way that you were treated as a child?
Okay.
Or are you going to treat that child and like work on relating to yourself in a more supportive, healthy way?
Yeah,
Right. So that's like
yeah.
one like immediate thing. And then,
Well, because it
go ahead.
tells you like how would you
How would you
treat a child?
Right.
Yeah. Would you shame a child?
Right.
Right. Would you? I hope you wouldn't.
Mm-hmm.
I hope you wouldn't beat a child.
Yeah,
You know?
right.
I hope you would.
Yeah.
I hope you wouldn't tell them they're worthless.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe you would, and maybe understanding that about yourself may help you understand yourself too. Anyways, okay, yeah.
And so, so you can utilize that in like reflecting on your past experience, your damaging like
Yeah.
experience throughout your life, but then
Yeah.
also, like presently on how you're talking to and treating yourself.
Yeah.
Right. But then also there's the aspects that Marlene Winnell includes in her book that I find very helpful is utilizing it in a way to relate to that internal piece of yourself. So
Yeah.
you do, speaking of like a fantasy, right? You create like an image
Yes.
of your maybe internal wounds from childhood,
Mm-hmm.
and you learn to connect with them and provide it the healing that you were not given at that time.
Right,
We can't go
right.
back and change what happened to us, right? We can't change the experiences we have, but we can make
I've
efforts.
tried.
Yeah, right.
Doesn't work.
But we can make efforts to give ourselves now
Yeah.
the things that we were never given.
Yes.
And the hope is that in doing that, while we can't change things, we're still going to have maybe some sadness, some
Yeah.
anger, some like
Yeah.
they may not like totally go away, but we can maybe make those feelings more manageable
Yeah.
by giving ourselves pieces of that.
And that's
then-
how you strengthen yourself.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know that have been generations that have thought, oh, you just push it down and that's how you're strong.
Uh-huh.
But then we see all the things that have come out of that,
Yeah.
where it comes out as a monster, whether it's an, abusive drunkenness, where it comes out then I've shoved everything down. So now I've got to beat up on something when I'm drunk or,
Right.
or that's one thing or it's self eviscerating. If you want strength in yourself, heal yourself.
Heal yourself. Take care of
don't
yourself.
you feel stronger when you're rested, when you've eaten well, when you've taken care of yourself? I'm not able to run a marathon on no sleep and no food and no water. I will die. I will die. It's not how you get stronger.
Yeah. No.
You have to take care of yourself. You have to heal yourself.
For sure.
That's where strength comes from.
Right. Absolutely.
But I've had to learn that outside of the church.
Yeah.
Anyways.
And one way, I'm not going to go through this whole thing. I would encourage, of course, I encourage people to purchase Marlene Winnell's book, Leaving the Fold, we've already talked about.
Yep.
I'm not sure if there's probably free versions of something like this. So what I'm going to go over, I'm not going to go through the whole thing, is a guided imagery that you could utilize in connecting with your inner child, right? As a way to explore. And it's kind of like a meditative practice for, you may get different things out of it, right? You may just learn, so part of the practice is going to be imagining your child self.
Right. It's putting you in a scenario.
Right. And you may find that when you imagine that child, they're scared in a corner.
Yeah.
Or you may find that they're hiding behind something. Or you may find that they're functioning well, they're happy to see you, right? And the hope is that, and this is getting a little bit more into like some psychodynamic aspects, right?
Yeah,
of like, let's try to like, in a new way, tap into the way you're seeing your past self.
Okay.
Yeah. Right. So that's like step one. And so this practice, I'm just going to read through like pieces of it, all kind of going out. So this would be something, and the way she actually invites you to do it is to read this yourself and listen back to your voice guiding you through, which is something I did when I went through the book. It was interesting. It was a little jarring.
You did do it.
I did it. I did everything she said.
That's amazing.
I did everything she said.
I
if I was going to ask anybody else to do
myself doing it.
Yeah. If I was going to ask other people to do it, I was going to do it myself.
Well, what was it like hearing yourself there? Because I've thought about this. This is a therapy technique. It's kind of like a... Yeah.
It's nice. I mean,
because the reason you do your own voice is because you trust your own voice.
Yeah, and I think it's and I think
like
it's
personal.
to like further that connection with your internal self.
It's an intimacy.
Too, right. It's supposed to be kind of getting you into that mode of and training yourself to listen to yourself in a supportive sense too, right? Yeah. And I think just like connecting that piece. Like I said, it was kind of like weird a little bit, but
it's a weird, nice. Like hearing yourself say.
I still have the recordings. I mean, I can. Yeah. I guess we're filming. I'll show you one. But so. This just starts with like, begin by finding a comfortable position for your body, gently settling down, close your eyes, take several breaths. So getting you into the mode, I'm going to skip ahead. There's no hurry. We're just breathing. Then she invites you to start, imagining grass and trees. You're in a meadow. It's pleasant. You can feel air on your skin. It's comfortable and cool. There's birds flying, chirping, singing. Just enjoy the meadow. So you just enjoy the meadow for a while. You take your time. And then you notice across the meadow what looks like a small child. You realize that child is you. They're natural, innocent, just as the other living creatures you've seen in this place. As you watch quietly, appreciating and learning, this child is your essence, your inner self. You take your time, let your heart be open, and when you're ready, you can approach the child and be together in any way that you choose, any way that you feel is right. You might climb a tree. You might hold them. You might just stand next to them. And then when you feel you're finished, you can gradually bring yourself back to the time and place, bring your child back with you in your heart, and agree to meet again, to continue to grow closer, open up, and enjoying life more and more. And then you're going to count backwards from 5, returning to this moment. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And you're back.
Yeah.
Okay. So
That
I
was
was
the
skipping
speed
around.
version.
Yes, speed version.
If you've done meditation before, it's obviously a lot slower.
Right.
And you're going to have a good 20, 30 minutes possibly.
Yeah. As long as you need, as long as you can handle.
Yeah. But it is always good. Yeah. I like that one. That's an interesting one. Go ahead.
Yeah, and I think there's the aspect of just the practice of connecting with yourself.
Yeah.
Giving yourself peace. I think that's just beneficial.
Yeah.
And then there's the aspect of what do I learn from that? What can I potentially take? And I think maybe there's some.
I wonder, because I was having a hard time seeing me as a child.
Okay.
How do I see me as a child?
What do you mean you're having a hard time?
Like, how do I have the
say more about
self-awareness
that?
to see myself as a child?
Say more.
It's hard because, okay, you're asking to see a separate being over there as yourself, as a child. I more was able, and I guess she does talk about this, I was more able to see myself through the lens of a child.
Yes. Yes.
Being the child.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. Thank you for me that, because that is something she says that some people may find that they're actually the child themselves. Like when they do this.
I was
imagery.
able to do that better.
Okay.
I don't know what that means.
I don't either, if I'm going to be honest with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
But maybe you'll see it as you are the child.
Yeah. And I mean, I think like that could be healing. And like, what does that say for you? Like what do you take from that?
I don't know. The way that I might be able to help get in touch with that child is just be like, I would just see myself through those eyes and then think, what would be my, what would make me feel the most affirmed, best, safe, if it's safety, if it's empowered, whatever makes me feel the most me. What is it that I could get from this moment that would make me feel the most me and the most centered and most myself? And then think about that and meditate on that and be in that moment with that feeling of having fullness, of being yourself, being fully in the moment in the meadow.
Okay.
That to me, it would be about being fully present, like being fully present, fully satisfied. From the view of the child, how am I fully satisfied and what would I do? What would the child do?
Yeah.
What would the child do? What would I want to do? What would make me feel free or whatever. That's where I go with it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm making this up. I don't know.
No, I don't. Again, like I don't think that.
What about you? Can you? What did you do when you're?
So when I'm doing the imagery, I think I saw myself as kind of an aloof child.
Oh.
Kind of reserved, which is accurate.
Okay.
And so more so just like being alongside, being with myself.
Okay. Because you don't feel that way now.
Aloof?
And aloof or disconnected or whatever.
Right. Yeah,
Right.
but I think that's how I see my younger self, as aloof. I see my younger self as disconnected, lonely. I see my younger self as lonely.
I think I want to be I think I've wanted to reconnect with my younger self so much.
You just want to be them. Yeah.
Well, because I was so free and so fully myself.
Okay. Oh.
And that's what I wanted to be again. Because it was a certain time before religion really got a hold of me. But
interesting. Yeah.
I go back to that time before religion really got a hold of me.
We may have to have we may do some circle back about almost like it sounds like a little bit then the child taking the reins of like showing you then
who Micah is.
Right. Of like being the guide in that sense.
Yeah.
Right. Which I mean, again, this is just like imagery to like help us relate to ourselves.
I think you're right. That's, I think I saw that.
I'm telling you, dude.
It's wild.
Any therapist listening.
There's plenty to work through here.
Yeah, but so this is just an example. There's a bunch of other different like types of imagery. I think imagery can be a useful tool once again to like turn into like different aspects, different tools. Another thing she invites is like I still have it like hanging.
You're gonna have to sew me back up at dinner. I know, you know that, right?
We will. Yeah, we'll debrief. We'll debrief. But like she has like putting up like an image of yourself as a child. I have myself in there with my little cardigan that I look at every day.
Oh, I know. I see it. It's little therapist George.
Yeah, little therapist.
He's so cute.
He's
so
cute
funny.
Guy. So just like seeing that and like to be able to connect with again like a innocent.
Well, I have a picture of my younger
myself.
self in my I
think it's worthwhile
in my studio, and I look at that Micah, and every time I play something or I sing something, I'm like, "This is for you, kid."
Yeah.
Amen.
And again, to reconnect this again to the applicability that it would have when like leaving religion, obviously.
Yeah.
Especially, perhaps in your religious or fundamentalist experience was limited to your adulthood. That's possible, but I think oftentimes it's
usually
I think majority it's being raised in and then becoming disillusioned with, right? And so much of that is ingrained in your childhood experience, how you probably view yourself as a child, view your child in that time. And again, imagery may not work for everyone. I know some people be like, "That's fucking wonky," and sure, like
well,
that's.
If you had given me teenage Micah, I would have approached that. That I see a separate Micah, and I can approach that.
Interesting.
Micah
I mean, I think
like,
it's worthwhile
too. I can help
too.
you, kid.
Yeah,
I can help you because you need some help.
But let's say like, imagery may not be for everyone, but I think it can be like a good tool.
It's interesting.
Yeah, to try.
I don't know, go. George is over here like this is a gold mine.
I'm gonna be referring you to everyone.
Someone just fleeced this guy for all his money he's got. No. Therapy is not a scam like religion is.
Okay, let's round this out then with cognitive processing therapy.
Okay. Yeah.
Let's talk about that one as the final piece. So this, again, very highly structured program.
Okay.
I did like a pure CBT training once and just like really learned that I'm not a pure CBT therapist because it's like super CBT, sorry.
Okay, because CPT is what we're talking about now, but you said,
but it's super structured. Like you have an agenda per session. These are the handouts. These are the handouts we're going to go over. Again, some people love that and it's really beneficial. I'm like here for it.
If you're that person,
go for it. And it's like on the therapist end too. Like if that worked, I've found it just doesn't work super for my personality because I'm not that directive. I'm more like, I'll tell you stuff. Like I'll give you feedback. I'll tell you things, but I also want you to like dig into it. You guide where we're going. I'll follow, lead when I need to, but I'm not going to like drag you along, which is not a fair way to represent CBT, but how I experience it when I try to do it, if that makes sense.
Okay.
Like I feel like I'm just like dragging people along. It just doesn't feel authentic for me. So
you need another point of connection.
Yeah. So I use it, but I use it in a way that feels authentic to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. So cognitive processing therapy is like a 12-week program where you start, again, it's like related to PTSD symptoms.
Okay.
And to like briefly talk about PTSD, they're like DSM criteria have different things like flashbacks, triggers, avoidance. Like these are different things you would have. But I think one part of it that is, and like I don't know if it's still in there. Should have double checked.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that the event, in order to be like diagnosable PTSD, has to be like a life-threatening experience or viewing a life-threatening experience, right? To be like diagnosable, right? Again, like that's just
it's broadly used now.
Yes,
in culture. People like I have PTSD about that, but you didn't have a life-threatening event,
right? And I mean, the DSM-5 is just trying to put words to very abstract experiences anyway. It's all whatever. But
it's a crazy world we live in.
Crazy world.
Crazy world. Crack me open another one. I got.
But one aspect of a PTSD diagnosis, right, the criteria is that the experience influences or changes the way you see yourself, the world, or other people.
Yes. Okay.
Right?
Yes.
Which I think that applies to so many things, obviously. Yeah. And so...
a villain's origin story. A hero's origin story.
Yeah. And so, so this, the idea or the hope of CPT... Yeah, I always want to say CTP. I don't know why. CPT is to help bring out those almost internalized new messages that were brought on by trauma.
Okay.
So that we can then, again, going back to like Stoicism, CBT, develop new relationships with those ideas that are more aligned with who we are. Yeah. And like not disconnect from them and bury them, but pull them out and then re-relate with them, reintegrate, to process them.
Yeah.
And so the first step is I'm really just going to focus on the first step because that's like where I focus and then kind of branch out from there. Mm-hmm. But it's what's called an impact statement.
Okay.
And so you write about the experience outside of therapy and then you read it with your therapist.
Yes.
And you don't just write about the experience, but the instruction is to write why it happened.
Okay.
But not really...
like your perspective of why it happened.
What you're telling yourself about why it happened.
Yes.
That's ultimately it, right?
Yes.
The assignment's not, hey, I need you to tell me why it happened and figure out why it happened.
Right.
It's I need you to tell me what's going on in here of why it happened. Because when you look at it from that perspective, that's when the things come out of like, I was foolish. I was dumb.
God was judging me.
Judge was right. And so once you get those things out, you can they like identify those as like stuck points, like things that based like from this experience are sticking in your head and being hurdles.
Okay.
And then you develop ways to re-relate with that or to change it. So that's what it is. That's what the impact statement is. I think it's a very useful way to start like bringing those up.
Have you had any CPT moments that you've done that with yourself?
I haven't done that one. I know. I said I want to do something I haven't done myself, but I've used it with clients.
With clients,
I have that. That's not one that I've done.
When do you whip that out? Like all the clients
it depends.
You kind of use it to assist. Okay.
It depends.
Okay. Like what's a scenario or what's something like where could I use that? Like where I can think of something that I might think, but I don't know. Like what's an appropriate situation of using that?
If it helps you, it helps you.
Okay.
That's ultimately,
something that, like you said, changes the way I view things.
Yeah, I mean, like losing faith. That's what I'm saying. Like, right, like.
Okay, so
that change the act of losing faith changes everything about how you view yourself.
Yeah,
changes everything. That's what I mean. Is like a way to. Because it's really
maybe even if it's in the end positive, it's still a life-changing event.
What did you? If
like I've lost my faith. If I lost my religion, I see that as positive in my life.
Right, but it could still have like.
It has
not negative impact,
overarching effects about how you view the world.
On you. Right? Yeah, that it would be helpful to process and organize. Yeah. The way I view CPT often is like a way to initially to start organizing the kind of, I don't know what's a proper word, but just like the chaos you may experience, like internal chaos of like, I know I don't feel settled, but I don't know why. I don't know what's going on. It's a way to start getting maybe some internal messaging you're giving yourself, getting it out so that you can start moving forward.
Yeah. Well, I can think of like being a gay person, realizing you're gay.
Okay.
And having to come to that realization. A lot of gay people have intense internalized homophobia.
Yeah.
And it comes out in homophobia towards other gay people, and in the same breath, homophobia toward themselves.
Right.
Whether it's femphobia, queerphobia, or like just I have to be a certain image so that people don't think I'm gay.
Yeah.
All kinds of things that I can imagine stems from that can be helped with CPT. Where you can flip the script and stop looking at accepting yourself as gay as that core shame moment. Maybe you were surrounded by, dad told you, I'm not father of some queer, you're not going to be gay in my household, or whatever. Would that be a CPT moment to try and
That sounds like a traumatic experience to me.
Yeah. Okay. 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 Yeah.
Right. And again, this goes back to like this was designed with like diagnosable PTSD in mind.
Yeah.
But like I still think we can use that tool for. I mean, we don't need to get so much into the semantics of like, oh, that's not like diagnosable trauma, so we're not going to deal with that in the way we would deal with diagnosable trauma, right?
Yeah.
Of course, like there are.
Well, I'm thinking like, sexual abuse would be a big one.
Absolutely.
A big CPT one. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's just very
that
beneficial.
happens plenty in the church.
Yes.
So there you go.
Yeah. But just to start like pulling out the things that you are telling yourself about, because that's that, and I think it goes back to also like that is something you can control in the sense not of just like you can flip a switch and control, but when it comes to like an experience, there's many factors that lead to like sexual abuse and everything else that are out of a person's control, right? But there are aspects of it, starting with the messages you're telling yourself about that experience.
I've watched people that I love very dearly destroy themselves because of sexual abuse in their childhood.
Yeah.
And are not able to flip the script on that. Yeah. Wow. That'd be very powerful.
Yeah, I think it can be.
Not that it has to be that traumatic.
No, it can be all sorts of
whatever,
things.
Whatever you find.
It could be any kind of life transition.
Yeah.
Your parents getting divorced in like adulthood.
Yeah.
Right? And that can change your world. That can change how you're seeing things, how you're relating to yourself, to the people around you.
A big failure that you see in your life.
Yeah.
Yeah. All kinds of things.
All kinds of things.
All
not
kinds
limited. So, So that's
woo.
That's what we've been through.
George.
Any other confessions or vulnerabilities you want to share?
I've been the last 20, 30 minutes, I've been suturing myself back up.
Well, really, seriously though, thank you for sharing.
Oh yeah,
thank you.
I think, I'm full. I will go.
You're open, but
go full on.
You will
full
go
on into it.
And I think, hopefully it's beneficial. I think it provided definitely some.
Hopefully, it helps some
example.
People. I
think
can be able
so
to
much of what you shared.
See a mirror of.
I don't think you shared anything that was like it was all very personal, but I don't think anything that was not heavily relatable.
Yeah. Okay.
You know everything you said. I agreed with every experience you shared.
Sure. And if it wasn't, fine.
Yeah, to hell with them. This podcast's for us.
This is my therapy moment.
All right.
Well, thank you, George.
Fun.
That was incredible.
Cool. Yeah, thank you.
Yes. I think I texted you this week. This is one of my favorite things about this podcast is the ability to hopefully help somebody else.
Yeah.
Get to a better place in their life.
Yep.
So you have, in my view, and I think anyone else watching this would see that is definitely done today. So,
check.
Gold star.
Nice.
Amazing. Accomplished that. Amazing. So
and now next
George.
week, Satanism.
Next week, Satanism. Bow, bow, bow. We're talking satanic panic. Satan's coming to town. Oh. Okay.
All right. Until then, be well.
All right. Yeah. This was I lost my faith, and all I got was this podcast.
Yeah. Amen.
All right.